Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. So on the docket for today, we have FICO and Affirm playing nice, potentially adding your buy now, pay later history into the FICO calculation. We have potentially a new shiny paint job coming to the Amex Platinum, and of course the story of the week is BILT Rewards. They've just been firing off survey options left and right, as well as a memo that makes it seem like these potential changes to the card that they've been surveying folks about are more realistic and possible than we normally see with surveys. So we'll jump into that as well to get your opinions, speculation, and outrage. So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we will lead off with buy now, pay later services, specifically Affirm and FICO. Of course, Fair Isaacs Corporation, the ones who come up with your FICO score, and Affirm, one of the, I'd say, front runners in the space of buy now, pay later services, which have definitely grown in popularity. All the credit cards basically offer a service like that. Even American Express has come away from saying charge card to basically credit card with what we're supposed to say flexible payment options or something like that. So anyhow, this is from payments.com, because basically these two guys, being Affirm and FICO, joined up to do a study to see what would happen about bringing in buy now, pay later history into a person's FICO score calculation. So here's what we have. So it was, as we said, it's a joint study between Affirm and FICO, and they looked at it for about a year. So this came out on February 4th. So over the course of a year, it had studied buy now, pay later usage. If incorporated, it could raise FICO scores for some new buy now, pay later borrowers. That's not that profound in its own right, because of course it could. It could also tank it of others. But anyhow, given the growing popularity of buy now, pay later loans, understanding how to effectively capture the benefit of buy now, pay later data can have on a FICO score is crucial to all stakeholders in the credit ecosystem. That's from a VP at FICO. Our findings show that the inclusion of buy now, pay later data via our innovative treatment can drive score increases for some consumers while improving model risk performance for lenders. The study compared the FICO scores of over 500,000 consumers who opened at least one new Affirm buy now, pay later loan against a benchmark population of consumers without Affirm buy now, pay later loans, according to the release. FICO simulated the inclusion of these loans into consumers' credit reports, then studied the potential impact of their credit scores. The study found that over 85% of consumers who had opened a new account, there were generally a consistent impact on their FICO scores. It also found that impacts of FICO score predictiveness range from modest to improved to no adverse impact across the range of different cases. So basically it sounds like it could, from their 500,000 sample size, either you saw a modest improvement or no negative impact, no adverse impact, really. So which means if you are using these services, it could potentially help you, or it could end up being much ado about nothing. The last thing I'll say on this is it's interesting if nothing else. I can't really tell what the goal is sometimes when we get updating these credit scores. Is it to help the lender actually get a full picture of your profile? Because, of course, a lender might want to see this. Or is it to just kind of help us bump the consumer's score up any way we can, potentially, so then I'm eligible to be sold more financial products? I feel like we're now trending much harder towards, I just want to make it easier to sell financial products, than anything else, because obviously the lenders are paying for FICO as a service, so it's probably going to be whatever they want to do. And again, do we really, sure, it's lending, but unless it's like a mortgage, most of the lending is kind of like a joke anyways. Again, I know some people are, trying to rebuild their scores and everything, but you got to be way, way down there to get denied for a lot of stuff. So I feel like this is just giving us more of a pool of people we could potentially sell to, because they've shown that they're open to buy now, pay later. What other stuff can I sell you to? It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it's a thing, right? That's kind of what I think about it. But again, let me know what you think down below. Now, someone who used to be hardcore uptight and then has recently changed their stance on, buy now, pay later and flexible payment options is American Express. The joke there being that there used to be charge cards in the Amex Platinum, and now it's a credit card with flexible payment options. There's some wording we're supposed to say. I don't remember. I'm terrible at this job. But anyhow, it's a good tie-in, I promise. So there is a rumor out from the good doctor of credit. It doesn't go into much detail, but it is Amex, so we'll talk about it. That Amex Express planning to a platinum refresh, which we believe, but the card would have a mirror finish. So doctor says American Express is planning to refresh the platinum cards. Currently, not much is known about the refresh. According to one of their sources, the physical card will have a mirror finish with prototypes already being created. I don't think that's crazy. I just feel like a mirror finish would get scratched up a lot. Like this is going to be a nerdy thing, but like, have you ever seen like those? It's some kind of, it's not, I don't think it's Pokemon cards, but they're like this new version of like holographic cards and like a ghost type is what they call them, and they always end up scratched up. So I feel like that would happen if you made it a mirror finish, but they do have to do something. And again, even though we say it's kind of a joke to have metal cards or certain card material, people do care about that type of stuff. And again, Amex does a track record of doing, the artsy cards. This sounds better than the artsy cards with the flowers and like the children, toddler scribbles on it. So I don't know, I wouldn't mind seeing it, but again, I do believe a platinum card refresh is coming. I would argue it would go a lot farther than we would guess to also have a new card design and new finish as well, especially as they've started to like the limited edition versions that always end up becoming part of the mainstay lineup. So not a lot to go in there, but in the doctor we trust. So there you have it. Now, on to the main event of cards that are most likely coming in some form or another, in my opinion, is BILT Rewards. So everyone knows them. It's the BILT Rewards, the cards you can pay rent with. Maybe, hopefully, in this refresh, they'll release a new sizzle reel so I can stop playing the same B-roll all the time. But they sent out a memo here. We're not going to read all of it, but there are some interesting highlights, and they're sending out surveys, basically comparisons of what do you think about cards, right? So there's like a no annual fee, a $95 annual fee, then an expensive $550 card, and you kind of like compare which one you would like, A or B. So we'll take a look at all of those so you can play down below. So the email from the CEO, this is compliments of Reddit, because I don't have a card myself. So again, you can kind of read the whole thing if you want, but I'll summarize here. So the top part, when we launched the BILT card 4 years ago, we set out to solve a problem most of us face: how to turn our biggest expense, housing, into meaningful rewards. It was a bold idea, but thanks to you, it's grown. Makes a lot of sense. Now, so basically they're talking about going to like BILT 2.0. They tease out the survey, which we don't need to read about that one because, we're going to look at the surveys in a second. Now, ensuring long-term value is an interesting one. So waiving the standard 3% card fee on rent payments represents a significant cost to the program and unique value that we provide to BILT cardholders, ensuring the benefit goes to members who genuinely engage with our broader program rather than those taking advantage of loopholes. Will allow us to continue delivering long-term value. That's the part right there. Again, I don't think we even need to go into the whole thing because they've been talking on their roadmap. They've been talking about going into mortgages and stuff, as you'll see. But that part, the loopholes, that to me means I think they are serious and they're going to do something with the card. So what are your options here? Or survey options, I should say. So no annual fee card concepts. And the survey just asked you to pick one. So on the left, 1x on points on rent and mortgages. So they're committing to mortgages still. 4x back on BILT neighborhood dining, Walgreens Lyft, 1.5 on everything else. On the right, same deal, 1x on rent, mortgage, but then you get 3x back on those same categories, but they add more, I would say, everyday categories like gas, groceries, and dining, and 2x back, and then 1x back on everything else. So out of those, which one would you pick? I feel like for this one, if we're going to play along the game, it feels like you get more on B, actually, but a lot of this really depends on how you're going to use the card, as we'll see. Obviously, they want you to start using the card on more than just rent and mortgages. As that's why now they have that, you're required to like make 5 transactions to get the points on rent, non-rent transactions to get the points on rent. So, I still feel like technically you do get more with the one on the right, but those categories are probably not super helpful to many people who have category cards. They're going to do much higher on that. But then there's some more strategy, like, well, do you like the transfer partners and things like that. So, $95 annual fee card, option A on the left. Same 1x back on rent and mortgage, 5 back on neighborhood dining, hotels booked through BILT, Lyft, and Walgreens, 2 back, the same 2 back categories we just saw, or 1 back on everything else. Now you get into the couponification of it, $170 in annual partner credits, BILT Fitness credit, Walgreens credit, BILT Hotels credit. On the right, your 5x categories are slightly reduced to BILT neighborhood dining and Lyft. Your 3 back on dining and Walgreens, 2 back on travel, 1 back on everything else, and then your same credits there. With this, we just really need to know a lot more about how the credit works. It says BILT Fitness. I'm going to imagine that's not just you use it at your regular gym. And I'm going to also imagine they're going to be paid out in some kind of increments, not all at once. I would imagine. Here, I don't really have a strong opinion. Honestly, the $95, you kind of lost me. I don't have a strong opinion on either of these. Just for the game, I guess I would pick the second one. No, I think I'd pick the first one. Maybe. No, I'd pick B. I think I'd pick B. And then the last one, it's blue now. That's fun. And that's $550. So A, 1 point on rent and mortgage, 5 back on hotels through BILT neighborhood dining, Lyft, Walgreens, 4 back on direct flights booked. That's like the best multiplying I've seen so far. 2 back on dining, 1 back on everything else. Your credits, you end up with priority pass as well, too, and then some of the credits increase. And then the run on the right is 1.25x on rent. There's a 25% bonus compared to the other BILT cards, like in case you couldn't do the math there, they let you know that. 5x, same categories there, 4x. So yeah, I mean, for me, this one, I like it because it's 1.25x. I like that, but again, you know, I have 3 mortgages. I don't think you'd be able to pay all 3 mortgages, but you know, there you go. So those are your options. I 100% think they're going to do something. They've made it known because they were made. The BILT was, a product made by people like us who knew we existed, and I think they've tolerated it quite some time to get it up off the ground and running. They're going to have to do something, and Wells Fargo's already been out. And that was a leak. They weren't necessarily outspoken, but Wells Fargo's losing money on the deal. And I think they're trying to figure out a way to, okay, we've finally progressed this far. We've been around a few years. We need to shake loose the people who are just doing the loopholes. They tried it a while back when they added the 5 swipes minimum, additional swipes to get your rent payments, things like that. They clearly want to push also a focus on the BILT portal and platform and not necessarily the card. Obviously, the card's probably the main anchor, though. So I 100% think they're going to do something. It would make sense to have two tiers of cards. Have the no annual fee one and then have the $550 one, especially if it does tackle mortgages. I think for this, we're just going to need... It's hard to say I hate them because on one hand, mortgage is a final frontier. For me, like if you're asking me, because who else are you going to talk to right now about this? For me to get it as someone who has 3 mortgages and would like to earn some points on it, I would like them to have a cash back option. Pretty simple. I know people like their transfer partners, so they have Hyatt and a lot of people like, but for me, I would like to see them add a cash back option. I don't think I would be willing to pay $550 to get the mortgage one at all. I just don't. I don't want the coupon. I don't know enough about the coupons, but I don't have any interest in them really. I mean, the 200, they're okay. They're okay, but I don't know. I don't think I would do it personally. I'd have to see what you're limited at, because if there's no limit and I can make all 3 mortgage payments at 1.25x, then that, and I could cash them out, then that might be, I'm going to imagine that probably be more than enough to offset. Plus, I'm also someone who makes additional mortgage payments on my primary house every month. So if there's like no limit, I know like rent, you get like 1 rent payment. So we just got to know more about it. But I do think if something is going to happen, I'm not quite ready to just say it's terrible off the jump. I think that's the initial reaction when you see fee increases and then you see these credits. I'm not a fan of the credits, but they clearly have to do something, to stop this. They're clearly now starting to get bothered by people like us in the space. That's why I do think they're more serious. A lot of other companies we've seen, when they send out surveys, it's just for fun. And granted, some of them have come to fruition. That's not that they're all just kind of seeing what's out there. But, I do think BILT is going to do something. So let me know down below what you think about these, which ones you would choose or what you want to see. Again, it's just really hard to knock them for doing what everyone else does, which is pushing you through BILT services like neighborhood dining, booking through BILT. That's what everyone's going to do. So the option for mortgage is enticing. I just need to know more about it before I outright say I would never do that or it's too bad. But, my initial, how I don't feel about annual fees. So that one comment in the memo, though, they're trying to get out of people doing loopholes. I really think they're going to do something, and we're going to see a massive shakeup to the program and to the cards. Just add a cash back option. I don't see why they won't do that. But anyhow, that has been the news for this week, mostly BILT heavy. So again, sound off down below. Which ones would you choose or what would you add? So if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week. And of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on ProfitableContent.com. which of course the channel's blog. Always link down below for you and on the channel homepage. We have the latest news stories, we have bank promotions, and we have credit card offers. I think we even have a BILT one as well. It wasn't too nice. They might take it after this one, but we have it. If you want it, go get it. Anyways, that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.